Hi, welcome to today's series. We're going to be making use of these little things that we call sliders. They're just an easy surface that slip along the floor surface. Now, what you can do if you don't have a specific slider, you can use tea towels or paper plates. They do the same sort of effective work. And you just want to make sure that it does work whether you're on a mat surface, like a carpeted surface, or a tiling surface. So let's get to it. We're going to begin in an all fours position. So we're going to make sure that I'm using the flooring for these, and just starting into a little position of hands on the shoulders and knees underneath your hips. As we sometimes do with our body, we're going to go into rolling through from the pelvis into the lower back, the mid back, the upper back, and then down into the head. And then we're going to roll out from the tail through the mid back and into the upper back, and letting the chest bone really shine forward. We'll do that again, starting from the tail, rolling under, lengthening through your lower back. Really try and take this quite slowly so that you feel all the different joints through the back of the spine, getting their moment, and then starting from the tail. I like to tell people that the spine has got two ends, the top end and the bottom end, and they can move together, but it's also nice to try and move them apart from each other. Let's go from the head aspect first, so nodding the head down, rolling into the upper back, then into the mid back, then into the lower back, and the pelvis is under, and then roll out from the crown of the head, letting the chest bone shine between the two arms, stretching through the joints and tail to the ceiling. We'll do that one more time as we start from the top of the head, curling through, rounding, and rolling everything into a nice curved shape. And then we'll start again from the crown of the head, reaching out, chest bone shining through. Don't let your elbows bend. Make sure you've got a good stretch through your abdominal wall. Come back to find a more neutral position. And what we're going to go with is sliding your right arm out in front of you. And as you do, you're going to bend into your left arm and then bringing it all the way back up, and then switch sides. So we're just going to alternate 3 to each direction, and making sure that you feel controlled in this movement. There's no sense of dropping down and collapsing. So the arm that's coming toward the floor like a little push-up is just in a hover. You don't want to rest totally onto the mat. And then one more time as we stretch out. Now already I can feel I might need to go a little further forward on my mat, so make your adjustments if you need to. What we're going to do is we're going to take your right arm and start to stretch it through and under. So bending into the left arm and then slide it out. And then take it across left side, so just into that little twisted motion. So as you're going through this, remember, it's not a huge deep stretch. You're just warming your body up. I always like to remind people to be very careful with the ranges of movement they choose. If you go too far, it's much more challenging and potentially injurious if you go too far. This is our last one going this way. And then we're going to combine our two moves. We're going to send the left arm forward and the right arm under, looking toward your hand, and then bringing yourself up. And then switch sides. So one arm lengthening out long and the other one coming in and under. So if this one feels like it's too vulnerable for you in your shoulder joints, then you know you've got other variations to build your strength up into this motion. But it feels really good. One more to each side. And then from here, we're going to take it into a little extension. So both arms are going to straighten out. Like we warmed up in our spine, we're going to begin with our crown of our head lifting, drawing the discs in towards you, and then stretching yourself all the way out long again. And then repeating, the head lifting, the spine muscles lifting you up. Your arms are just sliding in and underneath you to make your framework look good. But really, you don't want to sort of bunch up or tense through the tops of the shoulders. If anything, it's kind of like you're dragging your hands towards you, using your under shoulder muscles rather than the top neckline. One more time as we bring it all the way up. From here, we're going to make it into a nice circle. So you're going to send the arms out. You're going to widen them around and round your spine to come in. So we'll lengthen out into the extension, circle the arms, scoop this belly, and roll yourself up. One more in this direction as you reach out. Circle wide, come in. This is so good for your shoulder range of movement. Out and in. I think that was more than 3, but that's okay. Let's go in the opposite direction. So reaching out long and then scoop and come up. Each time I come up, I go into a curved position in my spine, and really don't overthink it, just let it happen. We'll go one more because I think that will be even to our 2 sides, and then bringing everything back in. So from here, we're going to take a seat down onto the side. You're going to use one of them. I've got both knees kind of stacked on top of each other for now. I'm just going to go into a little stretch over. So I want to be mindful that I'm not really going too far and not able to come back, because that's quite a long distance for my body to have to return in. And then coming down, rest your hand on the floor and side stretch in the opposite direction. To me, this is the best stretch as you go in the opposite way. And then again, a little slide out. So by having the arm away from you, you're working on your strength of your shoulder girdle. And then here you're giving it into the beautiful side body stretch. Now, if sitting with your knees like this is not comfortable, although I think most people are more comfortable like that than the other way, you could, of course, just swing your leg back into more of our traditional mermaid seat, which we call Z sitting or Z sitting, depending on where you are in the world. So we'll go 2 more as we stretch out and come back in. And then last one as we reach away and then rolling all the way back in again. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side as I turn myself around, and just seeing the back view. You may also be away from the screen. So from here, again, just a little side press. So with the first one, you always want to just test the water. You never want to feel like you can push too far. You always have that opportunity to go further on the next few rather than sort of destroying yourself on the first one. We like to work in a zone we call the neutral zone in Pilates, where we are within the safe borders of our joints. So not going to the end ranges, but really staying where your movement feels like challenge perhaps, but that you are still working safely in all of those spaces. Remember, you can change your leg orientation as you need to. And then I've got one more time as we do a nice big lengthen out. And then last time, traveling it all the way back and in. So from here, we're going to spin ourselves around, and we're just going to set those 2 discs up at the edge of the mat and then placing your feet onto the disc. So when you do, you'll be having most of your toes and your forefoot on with your heel off of the disc. We're going to roll our body all the way back. Ask our bear to move out the way. Thank you. You might just stay here with me. And then from this position, it's a bridge. So wriggle yourself closer towards your feet so you don't cramp out through the backs of the legs. And when you're ready, nothing exciting except to roll through the spine to begin, peeling yourself up into your bridge height and then lowering yourself down. So normally I work in sets of 5, but because there's a lot of things I want to do, I'm going to go with just 3s. So if you feel you want to add more in, by all means, go ahead. The pace that I work at as we go through these movements is really the ideal pace you want to try to achieve. If you're working too quickly, you're going to be targeting more of your global muscles, your superficial muscles, the fast-acting muscles. Whereas when we do these moves, we really are trying to focus in on the more sequential from inner to outer. So staying up on the next one, what you're going to do is raise your left heel up into the air and then lower it down. And then raise your right heel and down. Another 2 to go on each side, seeing if you can keep the disc as still as possible. So even though it's just a tiny little surface underneath you, it has the potential to slide. Last one, and then we're going to lower ourselves back down onto the mat. So we're going to add on. Remember, stay with the versions that feel best for you. Bringing the spine up. Feel steady between those shoulders, back of the head, and then feeling like you've got strings holding your hips to the sky. We're going to take our left leg, just a little heel raise, and then slide your leg away from you and bring it back. We're staying on the same leg just 3 times as we press it out and as you pull it in. Last one, maintaining the height of the pelvis even. Bring it in and then lower the heel down. Let's lift the right heel just a little way and then press it as long as you feel you can manage and bringing it in. Your aim is to keep your pelvis as balanced as possible without dropping down and without shifting left or right. Last one like that. And then bringing it in and dropping the heel and rolling the pelvis back down. We go up again. This time we're going to keep the heel more flat. So as we raise the pelvis up, pause here, slide the left leg out and away from you, and then pull it back in. Switch over to the right leg, lengthening and bringing it back. And again, 2 more times each side. Maybe you notice you've got more ability to lengthen the leg with ease on one side than the other. Maybe you're really having to work to keep your pelvis pushed up into the air on the other side. Whatever you're doing, just take notice of it, coming all the way back and then rolling your body back down. So we're going to keep adding on. Last time as we pick our spine up from the mat from here, we're going to again take the left leg out and we're going to reach our right arm over and behind and then bringing it back. Stay on the same side 3 times as we reach it on the diagonal line and bringing it in. And then last one on this. So this is really going to work out the back of your leg. And then changing sides. I feel like I have something in my throat. I need a drink of water. And 2. And last one. And then coming all the way in and roll your spine down to the mat. So now we're going to add the alternating move. So rolling the pelvis up again. I'm still starting on my left and I'm taking my right arm over and I'm bringing them back. And then I'm moving with my right leg and my left arm and switching. So what you may find is that when you do a single side, it's a little bit easier. The body kind of knows what you're doing. It's a repetitive movement. There's not a lot of thinking, overthinking required from the brain. The minute you start to add the coordination of changing sides, there's a lot more at stake for the brain and for the body. Roll the spine all the way down. On our next one, we're just going to peel up and stay at the top. And from there, you're going to send the double arms all the way over and behind. And then bringing them back. And 2 more times. Stretch the limbs and return. And then last one, lengthen the arms, hold the arms over the top of the head and then roll the spine down. From here, we're going to curl the head and shoulders forward. As you get your shoulder blades off the mat, start to slide the legs away from you as you bring yourself all the way up into sitting. And then as we go down, you're going to start to bend the knees, grab a hold of those discs and then roll yourself all the way to the mat. If you have a hairpiece, get it out of the way and then again curl the head and shoulders forward, look towards your legs, start to curl up and press the legs away. Don't worry, they will leave the top of the disc, and then as you're coming down, you're just going to collect them with your toes, roll the spine down and come back. One more time as we bring ourselves all the way up to the top. Stretching through the legs. This is actually a nicer way of getting up than the traditional with your legs staying all the way straight and then bringing yourself all the way back and down. We're going to turn onto a side. So again, if you've got hair things that you need to get done, go ahead and do them. What you're going to do is you're going to bring yourself up onto your forearm, have your underneath knee bent, and the top leg is going to be onto the disc. So just a little toe touch, making sure that your shoulder is not collapsed in and down, but really pressing away from the side of you. From here, we're going to slide the leg to the front, slide the leg to the back. The point with this is to not overly stretch the leg behind you because it's got surface to go. That's going to throw your hip forward and pinch in your low back. So just feel the distance you need to go to where you can still keep pretty stable through the front. So rib to pelvis connection at the front of your body. We'll go for 2 more slides to the front and to the back. From here, we add on. Stay low if you need to. Otherwise, elbow inches in a tiny bit. Up we go through the side of the body, arm towards the ceiling, and slide the leg front and back. And 2, we're going for 5 of these. And 3, I'm going to ask you to stay at the top of the last one. 4. And 5, you're going to reposition your leg back in line with the side of your body. And then from here, you're going to drop your hip, drop your arm, and lift. Drop your hip, drop your arm, and 2. And down and up, 3. 2 more to go. And then last time, down, up, and then returning everything back. So we're just going to switch sides over, so crossing them in the opposite direction. So stretching the leg out, focusing on the form of your shoulder, give it a slump so you know where not to be, and then bringing yourself up and away from the ground. Hand can be resting on the floor or somewhere else as we send that leg to the front and to the back. So because this is a movable disc, you want to make sure that your footing is always secure. So not just haphazardly doing it, really set yourself up for the best experience. One more time, forward and back. And then finding your balance. From here, it's always a tiny little bit of elbow inching in. And then we're going to be bringing those hips up to the ceiling, arm to the sky as we bring ourselves forward and back for 5. Focusing again on the side or underneath body, really staying steady for you, eyes looking forward. 3, maybe ahead of myself, of course, 4. And then last one, 5, bring it in line. And then you're going to lower your hip, lower your arm, and then bring yourself back up again. And lower and lift. And 3 more of these, moving around the steadiness of your upper arm. 2. And then last one. And then bringing it all the way down. From here, we're going to spin onto your hands and your knees. Knees at the edge of the matting surface, just to support your knees if you ever need to. Remember, cushions are always good. So nice position from here, similar to what we did in our bridging just a moment ago. We're going to lengthen out through one leg. Really be ready in this position. And we're not going to be sunk back into our heel. We want to be right up on the ball of our foot and then pull that leg back in. We keep going on this side. Reach it out and pull it back and reach it out. Pull it back. These ones I feel like we should be doing 5 of. It's very important to get our back chain of muscles working for us. They're the ones that really are holding us beautifully upright in gravity. From here, you keep that leg out. We're going to open it to the side, bringing it as far forward as you feel comfortable to take it, and then taking it back in line. And again, sliding that leg out. Now, each person is going to be different. Your shape of your spine is going to change as the leg travels around. So in order for me to keep my hands on the ground, I'm going to have to tuck my tail if I wanted to bring it any further forward. And that's okay, because I know my spine can accommodate that. If you're feeling like you're about to break yourself, then just go where your range allows for you to go. And I have one more time as I make that circle all the way to the edge of my mat. And then bringing it back in again. Fold the knee underneath you. Other side presses out for 5. So remember, you're on the hinge of your toes, where your toes are meeting your metatarsal bones, your foot bones. And this is really important because these are the muscles and the joints that we use for walking. 2 more. And then we've got one more time to stretch that leg all the way out. Hold it there, long leg. Start slow. Where do you go to feel on this side for comfort or discomfort? And again, feel how your leg wants to change position inside of the hip joint. So your leg bone spirals and spins with every sort of opening and then further in that direction. There's a big super turning around that happens in the leg bone. And then last one, bringing it to the front and taking it to the back and then bringing it in. So you can continue with us with your knees on the floor, but I'm going to take us into a hover of the knees, making it a little bit more challenging. So you do you. When you're ready, you're going to pick up those knees into the air. We're going to slide a leg out and bring it in, and slide the other leg out and bring it in. Another 2 to each side as you focus on the strength of your upper body, the form, and one more time, long reach of the leg out and in. Last one, and then coming back and down. Now we're going to repeat that series on single if you need to, otherwise we're going to do doubles. The doubles is going to be a lot more challenging. We're going to go for 6. So when you're ready, bring the knees hovered up, slide the legs out, slide the legs in, and press and pull. So feeling the strength of your lower abdominals 4, stretch, 5, last one, 6, and knees down. Woo, well done. Give your hands a little bit of a break up from there. From here, I'm going to bring us around to face the front as we go into a little stretch series. So you're going to have one knee onto the mat and then the other leg out onto here. So you can do this with your hands down onto the ground if you want to. Not everybody has that full range. So you're going to send your leg out, and as you do, you're going to start to go out safely. My bottom is going behind me as I get a deep stretch, and then coming all the way back in. So a lot of work on the kneeling leg that's staying where it is. So it'll hinge forward, hinge up, and bring the leg back. So again, like I said, these things are slippery, so make sure that you feel safe in the groin area. The stretch is deep down on the inside of the leg, and then coming up. And we'll go one more time. And yes, I'm breathless too, and I'm having a little mild sweat attack. And then bring it all the way back in. Same leg, we're just going to spin you around, and from here, you're just going to press yourself into a lunge. So as low as you can go through the front leg, as far forward as the knee will allow you to, hands on the ground. Double check your form. If your shoulder is up at your ear, drop it away. Make sure you've got a lovely long line from crown of head down to the heel behind you. I don't know which is better, the hip opening or the calf stretch I'm getting right now. And then rest out of that. I'll swing around and we'll go one more time as we switch it over. So start, remember, gentle. You just want to see, what do I have available to me? Hinge over the front of the leg, standing up and bringing the leg to you. And again, going out, going forward, coming up, coming in. So standing leg is getting a lot of benefit. Moving leg getting huge stretch down the inside of the leg. All right, from there, we're going to turn ourselves around and then go into our lunge position. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I did 5 or 3 stretches on the other leg. So if I didn't give you what you needed, add more in. Oh, this one is so good. I think it's my favorite for the calf stretch on the front leg. Whew. All right. Such a beautiful little device. So many things you can do with it. Spin around, enjoy them, come up with something creative of your own. And if you do, like, comment, and share below.